Are you raw dogging reality or are you caffeinated today?
I've had about 5 matchas and 2 espressos.
There we
so.
go.
Wow. Wow. Getting
Yeah.
up potentially into that 500 milligram range,
Yep.
which is
that's junkyard dogging
is-
reality.
yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
consuming everything.
Yeah,
Maxing. Maxing.
Did you have a rough time, like with going to the East Coast last week? I think for
Hill and
me
Valley.
personally, given my caffeine intake, when I
It was brutal.
when I go through a time change like that, just everything gets messed up. How did you do?
Horrible. I've been up since 4 a.m. every morning.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing now.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm just
Ashton
cranking
Hall.
content.
Yeah, just Ashton Hall mode. Ashton
Yeah.
Hall maxing.
Yeah.
Get up.
No, I think it's time you
Rub
have
a
to do
banana
one of
peel on
the.
your face.
I think you need to do the Ashton Hall for tech video. I think you should basically start tomorrow
you
morning
should.
when you wake up at 4.
Yep.
And just do it.
Yep. Anyway,
I'll try
great
my
to-
best.
It's great to have you on the show finally.
Yep.
Long overdue. There's a bunch of stuff to run through. We have limited time, unfortunately, but maybe we'll make Augustus wait, a couple minutes extra and just hang out.
he's been
we
on a
were
bunch.
already covering your F1 firms as
Yep.
sorry F1
what inspired
teams
it?
as
What
venture
was the
firms.
reaction? What do you think you got right? What do you think you got wrong? And then we'll go into the other less iconic F1 teams. Take some shots.
Well, so all of this started because I got a nice tip from someone who might be on the inside. I can't share much more than that. But I was given a tip because I've done these before where I've compared the VC funds to something like the Coachella stage. I did this for
yeah.
Sorcery like years ago and it went
right.
so well, but this was at like ZERP funding and like
Sure.
ZERP environment. So it was like SoftBank was in it and Tiger, and like it was just so much more clear who the stages would be. And now we're dealing with F1 because there's only a couple contenders and we've got to see who's going to win.
Going back to the Coachella, which fund was the Do Lab? I gotta ask.
What's the Do Lab?
Oh
It's
my
one of the-
God,
oh,
that's
it's
a
one of
good
the
one. I
stages.
forget.
I've never been to Coachella, so-
You've never been
honestly,
to the
that's
Do
extremely
Lab?
bullish.
No.
That's extremely bullish that you've never been, to be honest.
I've never
That's
been to
good.
Coachella.
But
Never been
you
big in
sweet
that whole
child,
world.
you sweet child, doesn't know what the Do Lab is. But who do you have as a Do Lab? I gotta know. And then Sahara, and
know.
then we'll move on to F1.
Okay.
I mean, let me pull this up.
Well, while you're pulling that up, there are some midfield teams that someone broke down. Williams is Greylock, the 5th most winning team in history. Didn't keep the top talent or scale, so fell behind. Alpine is BCV, Bain Capital Ventures, storied brand across racing categories. PE Consulting, strong veteran lineup, couple wins and podiums in recent years. Decagon, Crea, younger guys largely untested, no clear succession. I love AlphaTauri as YC, battleground for young talent, produces some of the best drivers, but sees limited return. Verstappen, Sainz, Gasly, plays an important role in the startup driver ecosystem. And Aston Martin is SoftBank. One man behind it all. Lawrence Stroll, Masayoshi Son, tons of money and big deals. No significant results to speak of. Brutal.
Brutal.
It's great. Anyway, break us down the Coachella landscape, and then I thought I'd put it in terms that folks that are more familiar with bodybuilding could key off of.
Okay, so for Do Lab, this one was just scrappy bootstrapped companies or people in stealth.
Okay.
For
Got it.
the main stage we had is Tiger Edition, Kotu, A16Z, and
All
Sequoia.
crossovers.
Oh, so it's basically the lineup
Yeah,
crossing
okay.
over. Okay,
Sure,
I got
sure,
it.
sure.
I got it.
It's the big show, headliners, hard to compete, expensive rounds.
Got it.
Right.
And
Okay.
then
Yeah.
for outdoor theater, which is just as experienced, arguably more fun, artist friendly, we had first round, benchmark, pair, and index. This
Okay.
might okay.
Yeah, that tracks on it.
Sahara, which is also like amazing, very large, loud, and a little bit more out there. Founders Fund, SoftBank, General Catalyst, Lux, Craft. Let's see, Gobi.
I can
Gobi's
see
like
Delian
pretty
playing the Sahara stage right around like 6 o'clock, just really, peaking, basically.
Peaking. Well, yeah, I mean, I've never been to Coachella. I barely get to watch F1. I really only follow, the only sport I follow is bodybuilding. So I did my own kind of version of this, mapping the top venture capital firms to professional bodybuilders. So I'll give you a rundown, and I'm sure you're familiar with bodybuilding, so you'll be able to give some feedback and tell me how I did. So for Sequoia Capital, I have Arnold Schwarzenegger. This one, obviously, it should be.
Obviously.
Great
both set
documentary.
the sports, the industry's gold standard early. Sequoia, Apple to Airbnb hit list, and Arnold's 7-time Mr. Olympias. It became the blueprint that everyone studies, right?
Yeah.
Andreessen Horowitz, this one should be obvious. Dorian Yates, of course.
Yep.
Each burst in with radical mass, software eats the world, media blitz, 6 straight Olympias. They kind of reset what scale and intensity could look like. For Founders Fund, this is a no-brainer. Phil Heath, precision-obsessed moonshotters, Thiel's contrarian bets, Heath's near-flawless symmetry, both racked up 7 crowns while dividing the crowd. A little controversial, Heath. Kleiner Perkins, Ronnie Coleman, obviously. Everyone's going to guess that one.
Of course. Of course.
They're 1990s Titans that went maximalist.
Yep.
KP's .com era supremacy. Mears Coleman's 8 title, Yeah Buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
that pushed sheer size and later paid for it in surgery and turnover. Excel, you got Lou Ferrigno. Lux Capital, you got Jay Cutler.
Of course.
Probably makes sense,
Of course.
He's a methodical grinder, just like Lux. They've been at it for a long time. Lux deep tech persistence and Cutler's dogged prep finally dethroned the champ. Showing steady focus beats flash. Lastly, we got Nat Friedman. He's the up-and-comer. He's the Sam Sulek of venture.
Sulek.
People have been saying that for a long time.
Many people have been saying that.
Yep. So I think that will put, the venture funds in terms that really anyone could understand, because a lot of the F1 analogies, they just don't really land with like our audience, at least.
Bodybuilding's very American, whereas F1 is very European, right?
It is.
What else is on your mind, Molly? How was what was your reaction to last week? We obviously were in DC as well. Did you have any major takeaways? Anything that you're following after the event?
You got some Palantir merch.
I got some Palantir merch. Became friends with Ileano there. Got introduced to Sham.
Cool.
Got a private tour of the office on Friday or the next day. Some amazing merch they got there. But I think like the biggest takeaways, and I'm still seeing this, but the biggest theme from the event was the US versus China. And we're seeing that because Delian's still posting about it.
He's posting through it for sure.
He is.
An interesting one. We had heard some light chatter about the TikTok deal potentially getting closer to a resolution, but there being a general unhappiness with how it was getting sort of resolved. So not sure how much we can share, but that was one takeaway for me. It's like in the midst of this like massive trade war and all this talk about US China, one of the sort of key issues that should be completely bipartisan and we should be acting extremely intensely around. It seems like we're going to miss the mark on. So
I think consensus is that there will be a group of financial investors that come into the company and own a stake, and then Oracle will do the data management and kind of the cloud infrastructure, but it won't fully leave control of the CCP, which is maybe not the best outcome. I've been advocating for just giving all of TikTok to Truth Social. I think that would be something that everyone could really rally around.
Yeah,
might destroy it, but it's definitely going to get approval from the top dog in Washington. He'll be happy to have a new asset.
Yeah.
What else? What can you tell us about working at a family office? How it differs from working at a VC firm? You've obviously worked in both places. What's different, and how are family offices like positioning themselves these days in venture? Is it just like tag along rounds, or are they trying to lead rounds? Like, what are you seeing in the family office landscape?
Good questions, many questions. I think the biggest difference is the time horizon on deals and the thinking. So instead of
capital,
it's permanent capital. You're thinking evergreen. You're not confined to 4 years for investing. It's not like you have to stop investing after 2.5 years and start raising and going out to fundraise. Instead, you're thinking long term. You can actually be a little bit more thoughtful instead of playing the rat race of competitive rounds. You can pick companies and go deeper with them, have longer term relationships. It's just it's a much different game because it seems much more rational. I think my biggest thought and reflection after leaving institutional VC was just how much it's thwarted by fast decision making. If you have to consistently confined to, oh, I've got to do this many deals a year, you have to do this many per fund and allocate X amount of capital, then it really constrains like your judgment and how you think about what you want to do. So yeah, I mean, it's great because like, you can operate with clarity. You don't have to waste your time with tons and tons of meetings. You can actually just focus on the power law winners.
Yeah, and that means, effectively, identifying a company early, not necessarily being able to invest in that moment for some particular reason, but just saying like, hey, it doesn't really matter. We want to get in at some point. Let's, continue to build a relationship. Whereas I think oftentimes VCs, have a specific window. Unless you're a big platform fund, you have a window where you can make an investment work, but then you can't even do an SPV into the company necessarily if you weren't in the, in one of the earlier rounds. And so having that timeline flexibility to be like, okay, we can have $10+ billion outcomes now. It really doesn't matter if we get in at $100 million or we get in at $500 million, post. So
it's also just, it's much more flexible capital. It's not like you're confined to an X amount of percentage that you need in equity or check size. Like you can get in whenever and whatever makes sense. And then you can also put in your own capital and then raise the rest through SPVs and make a larger round. So there's many different dynamics. It's much more friendly.
You dropped an interview with Bucky Moore. He's going over to Lightspeed. We're having him on the show later. What was the question that you were too afraid to ask because it doesn't meet Sorcery's brand standard? But it's anything goes here when we're live, so we can put him on the spot. What did he ask you to like edit out, and then we'll ask him that live?
I will say I passed all compliance. My biggest question that I wanted to ask him was, what was the deal? Like, did you get your carry bought out? I asked this. You got to listen to the interview so you get the answer.
I'm prepping my show. Yeah.
But I asked him, like, how does it work transitioning? Large partner from another fund going to another, right?
Sure.
Like, there's a lot of tied up carry. There's board positions.
Yeah.
It's very complex. Like, what was that process like? And we walked through it. I mean, he was very open. I was quite surprised. It was an awesome interview.
That's very cool. What else did you talk to him about that we could maybe dig in deeper when he hops on the stream in an hour?
Ask him about his view on ASI. Ask him about pricing dynamics for tier 1s and tier 2s.
Okay.
He doesn't like that branding, but
you think he's more as like tier 3?
Look,
he wants to be labeled as a tier 3 so you can have that dog.
That dog in him. Inspiration to grind harder.
As soon as you're labeled a tier 1,
it's over.
Like, I've reached.
I've peaked. Anyway,
and then I would ask about global pools of funding. He was open about that. And
he's big into raising money from Pyongyang, right? North Korean money is usually in his funds. Right? He does a lot of SPVs with
somebody out there is not gonna understand
with the North Korean sovereign wealth fund. We'll have some fun with him. Last question before you go. What should they do with Alcatraz? Everyone's been debating it in tech. I want to get everyone's take on it today. Should they become Y Combinator, put a monument on it, bring back the jail, keep it as a tourist destination? What's your pick?
I want to keep it. I want to bring it back as a jail, but I want to keep it open for tours.
Okay, so you can tour the prisoners.
Oh, crazy. That'd be very chaotic.
That would be extremely chaotic.
Somebody was running. I forget who it was. I think it was Shield was saying that like the reason that it was shut down initially was that there you could only have like 300 prisoners, and like due to being on an island, it was like
extremely expensive,
like 3x the cost to actually house them. So it was just like doesn't really actually make sense. But I liked somebody's idea of turning it into
if I was in jail, I'd probably choose the island jail, right? I mean, that doesn't seem like a bad place to be.
I don't know. Have you done the tour? It's
pretty
miserable. It's so
bleak.
It's so bleak. It's always super foggy
out on the water. If you get a window, you can kind of see everything, but I don't know. Yeah, pretty terrifying. Anyway, we'll see what happens with it. We'll be tracking it.
I'm in favor of putting, letting Y Combinator set up shop.
I like the YC strategy. It's
trapping
PMF or die 2.0.
Yeah. Y Combinator is the Y Combinator of Y Combinator.
It's true.
As many people have said, but put it on an island. That's a good place to be.
Thanks so much for stopping by, Molly.
This was great, Molly. Have you back on soon. Congrats on all the progress.
Bye, guys. Thanks.
Bye.
See ya.